Hi everyone, as we heard, my name's Rebecca and I've got 10 minutes to talk to you about the personal statement and what makes a good personal statement. The nice thing about this session is that even if you're sitting here thinking, oh, I'm not sure about university next year, but I'm thinking about applying for another kind of option, maybe an apprenticeship, maybe a job, that type of thing, the personal statement, what I'm going to talk to you about is going to be relevant for other applications as well. To be able to put down on a piece of paper all of the things that you're good at, your strengths, your skills, your experiences is a really important skill to have. In the context of university applications then, the personal statement is a 4,000 character piece of writing. It's your opportunity to sell yourself. It's your opportunity to tell universities why you're the right person for that course for their university. Why is it important? Your UCAS, your university application, is a list of very valuable information to us, personal details, grades, predicted grades, but obviously we don't really get a sense of the other experiences, the other things that you've done that make you a strong candidate for a particular course. So your personal statement is your chance to talk to us, to tell us about all these fantastic things that you've been involved with. There's two main questions that you need to answer on your personal statement. First of all is, why this course? That's the first thing that we want to read about as universities. Why have you chosen this course? There's over 30,000 course options available just in the UK alone. So why have you chosen this particular course and why are you going to be good at it? So that's question two then. Why should we as universities choose you? What can you tell us that's going to make us think that you're the right person for the course? The kinds of things you might want to talk about here then are the kind of skills that you've got, work experience perhaps, and I'll talk a little bit more about work experience because I know I've seen the Q&A. I know that it is a concern for a lot of students at the moment who might have had work experience placements cancelled as a result of COVID-19. And we also want to hear about what you've been studying, the things that you've enjoyed doing as part of your A-level or your BTEC studies. And we also want to hear a little bit about your career plans. Okay, you're thinking about university, but what comes next? I would say that the opening line is one of the most challenging parts of any personal statement, of kind of getting it underway. It's sometimes something the students leave till the end, until they've got a better idea of the direction of the content of their personal statement. And it's really, really hard to come up with something that's interesting, this sort of grabs the attention, but isn't too cheesy, overused. Some examples that I've seen thousands of times on draft personal statements with school and college students are things like, ever since I was young, I've wanted to be a midwife. Ever since I was 8 years old, I wanted to be a civil engineer. We're looking for something much more specific than that. And actually, is that true? Were you thinking about being a civil engineer when you were 8 years old? Probably not. So having to think about striking the balance between something that's quite interesting, grabs the attention and makes us want to read on. I'm going to give you a couple of examples, just really briefly, something for you to think about. So in a lot of personal statements, we might see something like this. You've talked a little bit about the course and then you're thinking about other experience, other things that you've done or you've kind of experiences that you've gained. And you might say something like, I'm a captain of the school hockey team and I excel at most other sports. Okay, that's fine. Get a sense that you're quite sporty. There's nothing wrong with that. But that's a really good example of somewhere where you could give us a bit more information that would really elevate and really, really add value to your personal statements. Okay, you're captain of the school hockey team. So that tells us that you're probably a good leader. Why were you chosen as the captain? What sort of qualities, what sort of skills, all those kind of things. What made you a good choice as captain? And also, if you are captain of a sports team and good at other sports, the chances are that you're having to balance sporting responsibilities and sporting commitments alongside other things. Could be part-time job, school or college work, other things, other responsibilities. So that demonstrates to us that you've got good time management skills and that you're able to balance those things. And also, it's good experience for what comes next at university and how you're going to balance other things. There'll be more social opportunities perhaps than you've ever experienced before. So how you're balancing the social alongside obviously the important bit, the studies and the lectures and assignment deadlines and that type of thing. I am conscious of time, but I'm going to run through just a very sort of brief example structure of where you can start with a personal statement. And what I would say is, as difficult as it is at the moment to be sort of perhaps stuck at home and spending a lot more time on social media and devices and things like that, it is a good time to think about and really reflect on the experiences you've had to date and start writing them down. It might even be in a note section on your phone or on a piece of paper that you can come back to and think, oh, that's something that will be useful. Just a real sort of series of ideas and things that you've done that are going to kind of build up to a really good personal statement when you're ready to put a bit more work into it. So the example structure then, first point, without a doubt, is why this course. That's what we expect to hear about first. Why this course? Why have you chosen it? What inspired you? Is there someone in the family who's doing something similar? Is this something that you've done on work experience? Have you had a teacher who might have inspired you to kind of pursue this more? Has it come from an interest that in a subject that you're studying at the moment, maybe at GCSE even, and that's where that kind of interest has come from? But without a doubt, that's the key sort of paragraphs for us, is the starting point for the personal statement. Why this course? Why you? Why will you be good at this? What will you offer if you were successful and got a place on this course? Secondly, you could talk about things like work experience. Work experience is valuable, and a short period even of relevant work experience can really sort of lift a personal statement. It gives you something to say, and it shows that you've kind of explored the industry or explored the subject area in more detail outside of anything you might have been doing in school or college already. I would also say that it's important not to undervalue any part-time work that you might be doing. Often students think that a part-time job in Tesco's perhaps isn't the most valuable thing to include. And in isolation, probably not, that you've got a Saturday job in Tesco's, but actually the experience that you might have gained from holding down a part-time job in Tesco's in terms of customer service, communication skills, working in a team, balancing again school work, college work with working on a weekend or whenever it might be. So don't undervalue your part-time job if you've got one and the skills it might have given you. In terms of relevant work experience, I appreciate it is difficult, particularly for students who are thinking about medicine, dentistry, veterinary science, where placements have been cancelled. It's difficult to predict when there might be an opportunity for you to kind of rebook and kind of undertake those placements again. But what I would suggest is, are there things that you could be doing and that you could talk about on personal statements? So it might be obviously making sure you staying safe and adhering to all the relevant protocols, but are there things that you can get involved with via social media, volunteering, helping in the community, that type of thing? Again, safely, but are they the sort of things that you could talk about on a personal statement for one of those courses? So I appreciate it's not quite the same as having a work experience in a placement in a hospital, but as Robbie's alluded to, we are aware, as a community of universities, we are aware that undertaking relevant work experience, particularly in medical fields, is going to be more challenging for the foreseeable future. So that would be my advice to students who are thinking about that at the moment. As well as those things, also thinking about other achievements then you could talk about in your personal statement, or other responsibilities. So it might have been you've been involved as a prefect, you might have helped out organising some events in school or college, you might have supported younger students with reading or other classroom activities. Are there other things that you can say that you've done that have helped you build some really valuable skills that you can share with us in your personal statement? And we also want to hear a little bit about what you do in your free time. This should be quite a small part of the personal statement. We don't want a really long paragraph about all the kind of hobbies and things, but are there things that you do outside of school, just something you've arranged outside of school or college, that you've arranged by yourself, that actually tell us a lot about you and your commitment to your future course and your future university career? Just to finish off then, a couple of do's and don'ts, and again, a really valuable thing which has been around for a long time, which came from UCAS. So if you remember, one thing from my section of this webinar is the personal statement ABC. So it's activity, benefit, course. So the best personal statements then talk about what you've done, so the activity. So all of these wonderful things that you've been involved with, that you've been part of, led on, all of these things, they're the activities. So we want to hear about those. Better personal statements then talk about the benefit to you of doing those things. So these are the skills that I've gained. So by being captain of the school hockey team, I've improved my time management, my team working, etc. And then the C then, course, the best personal statements can talk about the activity, the benefits of doing that activity, and how that's relevant to the course. And that's something you should bear in mind, particularly when it comes to editing your personal statement. Because when you start, you think you're never going to reach the 4,000 characters, you're never going to fill a page of A4, but you'd be surprised how quickly that builds up. And often students have to cut things out rather than add things in. So activity, benefit, course, okay? And just very briefly then, things, do's and don'ts, absolutely demonstrate enthusiasm and positivity. You should keep everything that's in that personal statement positive. Talking with enthusiasm about the things that you've done and the things that you want to do at university. Making sure that there's a structure. So I've given you a bit of an example structure. There's lots and lots of resources available online and through individual university websites, and also by UCAS.com and other similar sites that'll give you a really good example plan for how you can structure a personal statement. Checking your spelling and grammar is really important. I can't say that one spelling error is going to mean the difference between getting a place and not, but we are talking about giving the best version of yourself here. And as we know, a spell check takes a couple of minutes to undertake. So just making sure that the final version that you submit, that you paste into that UCAS form, is the best one. It's as good as it possibly can be. And just very briefly, things to avoid. Copying, really important. There's lots of examples online of good personal statements and bad personal statements. Read them if it's going to give you some inspiration, give you some ideas, but please don't copy anything and include it in your own work. UCAS have got a system called Copy Catch. It scans all personal statements and it will flag up if anything has been copied from a personal statement that might have been submitted in the past. So please don't put yourself in that position. Please make sure that everything that you say in your personal statement is true. I'm sure I don't need to say that, but particularly if you're going to be interviewed as part of this process, your personal statement is going to be in front of the person who's interviewing you. It's very, very difficult to keep up a lie in an university interview scenario. So just making sure that all of the information that goes into your personal statement, that goes into your application form, is accurate and 100% true. And a big one, just to finish, is just avoiding too much talk about TV programs. We hear from Robbie, people are watching more TV. It might be you've been inspired to look at conservation, maybe psychology based on, watching The Tiger King. But making sure that the examples that you give, the things that have inspired you, have got a bit more substance to them. So avoiding references to TV programs where possible, please. And that's it from me. I hope that was useful. I appreciate it was quite a short slot, but I would encourage you now to think about, I know there's a lot going on and there's a lot of concerns, but I would encourage you to just think about using the time that you've got at home to make some notes and to kind of try and build up a little bit of a structure, a list of all the things you've been involved with. So when it comes to actually drafting that personal statement, perhaps in September, October, you've got a long list and a good place to start from then.